All right, so today we're going to be doing some laminate flooring. I wanted to take you through the process of the tools needed, general setup, cleanup, and just kind of give you an idea. This is the kind of thing that definitely is going in quite a bit. We're doing laminate flooring that is becoming quite popular. You can see here we've got the Camden Oak laminate flooring. It's really pretty. They're doing a good job printing, making it look quite real. The patterns and everything on it looks like real wood. These can be found at, say, Home Depot, Lowe's, even Costco. We're putting these into a lot of customers' houses, as well as a lot of the custom flips and new builds that we're doing are getting these. So I wanted to give you a rundown of the general things. First things first, you're gonna want some knee pads. A little floor scrape is always nice to have. These can kind of help you get down, scrape off the floor. And then a vacuum obviously is a very important thing. We want to make sure nothing's getting underneath this flooring. A couple other things you can get. They sell these packs, floor installation kits. Within them comes a block that you can set up against your wood and use a hammer to kind of help knock it in, get everything real tight. This is basically just a bigger version of that. In this pack also comes some spacers that we're going to end up putting into or alongside of the floor. You always want to be leaving a gap with this stuff for it to expand and detract a little bit. So not a whole lot necessary for the setup. It is nice to have a saw. So if you have a miter saw, for example, just makes it super quick and easy. If you don't, just a general circular saw or something like that would be really good. Also for making the long cuts, a table saw or something of the like is very helpful. So to start, we place a full piece in the corner. Again, we're using these spacer blocks along the wall. We put them at the seams and in the corner. And we're gonna be spacing our pieces every third piece, meaning our seams are gonna be cut along the wall at 1/3, 2/3, and then the third matching that first full one. So we took our initial pieces running full length along the backside, and then starting at 1/3, we'll run again full ones from there, 2/3, so on and so forth. That matches up our seams every 3 pieces. Just looks nice when it's all uniform and lined up like that. So knocking in pieces keeps everything tight. We're going to continue to do that with just about every piece we lie down. These click in really nicely. If you just put them in at a slight angle, the tongue fits right into the groove, and then a little nudge with the pounding blocks usually sets them right into place, and they lock in really nicely. So we're gonna go ahead and just run some out here. Bring you back when we get going a little further. Cool. So as you can see, we're coming to the end, the last row of this room, and a couple of little things we wanted to point out. When you're going through this process, you're using a pad like this to hammer a flat edge. One thing to note with this is you're gonna get a lot of dents on the side that you're hammering, so just keep it consistent. Keep hitting that one side so that you have a nice flat edge to put up against the actual laminate, so that you're not breaking the MDF tongue groove underneath it. Another note is a lot of these patterns come kind of prefabricated. They come in boxes with a lot of the same print exactly on them, so just keeping an eye out on the patterns that you're pulling from these boxes. Maybe use 3 or 4 different boxes and pull out patterns that are different and lay them next to each other so that you don't have identical ones side by side or just in line with one another. Also, you're gonna wanna come to the end. Every once in a while, when you're doing a room, you're gonna get to a point that leaves an awkward gap at the wall. It really just depends on the trim that you're gonna be ending up using, but if you're gonna be using trim that is thinner than this weird gap, you might end up having to do a really thin cut. So here we have just about a 1/2 inch to close that about an inch wide gap from the wall with our last piece. So to do that, cut it first. It's a lot easier if you just pre-place it and then use it all as if it's one piece, one final piece to get into the wall. And when you get this placed, there's actually a piece that comes with the pack of spacers. Alright, so just place this thing on there. You want to be really careful. If you want to hammer that little tiny piece on so it stays tight, it's a good idea. Just keep some backward pressure on it. Lower it into place. And slide this thing along. And that's going to give you what you're looking for. And yeah, we can go through some different tie-in pieces, but basically going into a hallway, I'll have to make some special cuts, and then we're going to end up using just the same kind of pattern, try and take this same look that we have from the room going into the hallway. So we'll end up doing 2 seams that kind of split each other every third. Just keeping it consistent with that. Going to end up with a nice looking floor. Alright, so we were able to get the floor in most of this area. We did come across a little spot in one of the rooms, but we had to put some cement down, so we'll wait a few days for that to cure. But as you can see, this was just a one-day kind of deal. Definitely a repetitive kind of thing, but once you get into the flow of it, it starts going pretty smoothly. We'll point out just a couple little things for like going around the doors and like into the hallway, for example. We did keep that pattern going where we're basically splitting it in thirds still, but it creates a couple little things to keep in mind when you're going into rooms. When you're going into rooms, even though we started from the wall over here and went forward in the room prior, coming into the new rooms, then we wanted to keep the consistent pattern through the hallway first and foremost. So we end up going into the room. So that's just something to keep in mind. You don't want to start in a room and try and match your way out, because you'll end up with your cuts looking off in the hallway. We did a couple little things. When you come around a doorway, you'll always want to be careful to make sure you get a nice smooth cut. leaving yourself a little bit of gap space for wiggle room there. You're definitely trying to keep consistent with the gaps that you have on the outside of the walls as well. So just little things like that that you're gonna come across. Definitely worth taking your time, making sure you do it right, and ultimately the end goal is to have a nice, clean, well-established pattern that doesn't get changed throughout or in any one spot. So take a quick peek around coming into the bathroom, and that was about it. I hope you guys found this helpful, and we're looking forward to making more videos and kind of showing you what before and after homes is up to. So stay tuned. See you later.